Really excited to announce that today we are launching the Razer Phone 2. All right? The Razer Phone 2. We've spent an incredible amount of time on the Razer Phone 2. We've got the top thermals engineers in the world, display engineers, audio engineers, so on and so forth. And in a single line, the Razer Phone 2, it's all about flagship, it's all about gaming. And when we had this single liner, it's because we wanted to make sure that by itself, it had all the great flagship features that a flagship phone would have, and it would have all the great gaming features that a true gaming phone would have. All right? And what we did was that we preserved that minimalist, monolithic industrial design that we had with the Razer Phone 1 and completely redesigned the Razer Phone 2 from ground up. All right? So here it is, the Razer Phone 2. It looks almost the same as the Razer Phone 1. You've got the minimalist volume buttons. We've got the power button, which has an integrated fingerprint sensor for your thumbprint. And it's great. You pick it up, it's ergonomic. I hear many other phones are kind of looking at that too. So we've got all of that. And it just looks beautiful. You can see the Razer Phone 2 has the dual front firing speakers, but it may look the same, but it may not be the same. We'll talk about that in a bit. We've got it powered by USB-C. And the small difference can be seen only on the back, right? And if you look at the back of the new Razer Phone 2, you can see that whopping dual camera setup on the phone itself. So the camera, definitely one of the things that we've been looking at, but you may not necessarily see it in this render, but that is a glass back for antenna connectivity. And there's some relevance over there. So, flagship gaming. So let's talk about why this is truly a phenomenal and insanely great flagship phone. And let's talk about performance. All right? So what is the performance of the phone? What do we do with the phone itself? Well, first up, we made sure that we used the latest and greatest from Qualcomm, the Snapdragon 845. We've got the Adreno 630 GPU. And the Razer Phone 1 was one of the first phones out there to have a whopping 8 gigs of RAM. We've kept the 8 gigs of RAM. It's more than twice that of most traditional other phones. It's incredibly powerful. Now, how powerful is it? Well, it's 20 to 30% more powerful than the previous generation Razer phone. Well, that's a reference. Well, because previously, the Razer phone in the first generation was probably the most powerful phone on the planet of its generation. Other phones have come along since then. What other phones are there? Well, we kind of pulled up a Geekbench multi-core benchmark, and you can see many of the great phones out there, flagship phones, whether it's the Samsung Galaxy S9, the S9 Plus, so on and so forth. So what is the performance of the Razer Phone 2? Well, it's off the charts. It's truly one of the most powerful phones out there. But you know something? I'm sure many of you guys always hear about these companies gaming these benchmarks and stuff like that, right? So we didn't just run this on one single benchmark, and neither do we game it on all benchmarks, to be fair. We made sure that this is the most powerful phone on the planet as of today. So if you look at it, it's got a #1 phone benchmark score, not just on Geekbench, but on BaseMark GPU, 3D Mark Slingshot. In a single line, the new Razer Phone 2 is the world's most powerful smartphone. And how do we do it? Well, we took all the thermals engineering and the experience that we had making the best gaming laptops on the planet, making the thinnest and the most powerful. We had our engineers push things to the limit. And if you remember, the Razer Blade 15 has one of the best, if not the best, vapor chamber cooling systems in the world. And we took that expertise, and we've got a whopping vapor chamber hidden within the Razer Phone 2. All right? This stretches almost the entire length of the Razer phone, and it allows it to cool so fast that it provides that industry-leading performance out there. Flagship performance. What else? Now, one of the big things that we had been asked for constantly was that when we shipped the Razer Phone 1, we put a good camera in that. It's a great camera. But many of the guys out there said, well, I'm using this as my primary phone. It's a great camera, man, but I want it to be a flagship camera. So, without much further ado, we have put in a flagship camera in the Razer Phone 2. And as you can see, this is the big difference on the back of the phone. It's got dual cameras. It's dual cameras with IMX sensors, angle with optical image stabilizer was not in the first Razer phone. It's got a full HD front camera. Now remember, we designed this camera for streamers. You're going to be able to stream brilliantly with the new Razer Phone 2. It's got a great front camera. It's got fastest shutter and capture. You know, we've got improved UI and one-handed performance. And one of the things that we really worked on was making sure that the Razer Phone 2 had way better low-light performance. So we wanted to throw in all the other features that flagship cameras have in flagship phones today. So we've got a great portrait mode. It just looks brilliant. It's got a portrait mode. We've got a panoramic mode available. That's going to be coming in the camera app. And we've got a beauty mode. All right, the beauty mode's important because I need it for my Tinder shots and stuff like that along the way. So, wait. Okay, this is pre-beauty shot, by the way. I assure you, I look better in real life. All right? So, so I take a selfie over there. Bam, we push the beauty shot, and we get this. No. Well, you know something? We've got great engineers and we've got great designers, but there are certain limits to what they can do, all right? Unfortunately, that's not going to make me into Henry Golding, but it makes me this, smoother skin, I look better. This is going to be on my Tinder profile tonight, so if I don't get a lot of people swiping right, I'm going to be very offended. All right, so we've got the portrait mode, we've got the panoramic mode, we've got beauty mode over and above. And here are just some of the shots. It may not come out very well on the LED screen, but you can see the detail available on the Razer Phone 2. We've really made sure the camera looks great this time around, even better than before. From a portrait mode to be able to see it. And even in low light conditions, you'll be able to see the definition in terms of the photos, and I urge every one of you to check out the demo phones afterwards outside to see what it's got. So we've talked about the flagship performance, we've talked about the flagship camera, and there's a whole slew of other flagship features that we have thrown into this. So first up, remember, it's got a glass back, so we've got great antennas in that. It's now got lightning-fast connections with gigabit LTE. So this is going to have 20% faster speeds than the Razer phone. All right, it's very cool. Now, one of the biggest requests that we got with the Razer Phone 1 was for waterproofing. Now, I'm going to be upfront and tell you that when you have a phone with dual front-facing speakers, it's incredibly difficult to be able to do waterproofing on that. In fact, it's near impossible. Why? Because remember, you've got all these speakers facing the front. If you want it waterproofed, it's impossible. But at Razer, we're great at making the impossible possible. So the new Razer Phone 2 is going to be waterproof. And what level of waterproofing have we got this? Now remember, we've had to completely redesign the phone to be able to do this. We are talking about IP67 certified waterproofing with the new Razer Phone 2. All right? So we've got the essentials like waterproofing in that. It's truly a flagship phone. What else? Well, we've got it for wireless charging. Wireless charger sold separately. All right? And with the wireless charger, we thought we'd put a little bit of Razer design in there, and it runs with Chroma. All right, so it's got wireless charging. And we've also got Qualcomm Quick Charge 4 Plus. It goes from 1% to 50% in just 30 minutes. All right? It's amazingly fast. This is truly a flagship phone. I could stop here right now, and this is a phone that's going to be great. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be insanely great for every single one out there. We've got the phenomenal performance, flagship performance. We've got the flagship camera, flagship essentials, the gigabit LTE. We've got waterproofing. We've got wireless charging. But that's just half the story. Why? Because we said flagship gaming, and I've only talked about the flagship features. So let's talk about the gaming features. All right? Are you guys ready? All right, here we go. So, first up, when we launched the Razer Phone last year, we were the world's first and only 120 Hz gaming display. And we are the only true 120 Hz gaming display. Now, lots of guys have tried to follow. Why haven't they been able to catch up? Well, because our display engineers, our firmware guys, our software guys have worked all the way from a component level to make sure that the 120 Hz screen just performs admirably. So if you are holding on to the Razer Phone 1, you are still a generation ahead of every single other phone out there, except the new Razer Phone 2, where we've got the true 120 Hz display in the phone, and we have made some subtle improvements along the way. So 120 Hz, some of you may say, I think I saw a keynote sometime that said that another phone had a 120 Hz display, right? That might have come up. Well, the Razer Phone or the Razer Phone 2 are the only phones in the world that have true 120 Hz. And what we're talking about? We're talking about 120 Hz refresh rate. And guys, if somebody tells you that you can't see that refresh rate, have a look at the Razer Phone. And you can see the difference in scrolling and video and things like that. And it's got 120 Hz touch sensing, both of which are on the Razer Phone. The only phone in the world, and there are two phones in the world right now that have a true 120 Hz gaming display. So I've got a quick video that kind of shows you the difference between how it looks like on a non-120 Hz screen, which is 60 Hz, which is the vast majority of all the phones out there, and a 120 Hz screen. So on the left, you'll see it's not a 120 Hz panel. On the right, you'll see on Gear Club, one of our partners, a 120 Hz panel with the Razer Phone, and we've slowed it down to 4 times slow-mo. You can actually see how much smoother the Razer Phone is. It's just like melted butter. It's incredible, all right? So it's super smooth, it's great, and what changes have we done over and above? Well, the Razer Phone 1 had a 380 nits panel. Some of the feedback was that they'd like to make it just a tad brighter. So we thought, we're not going to do it 10% brighter or 20% brighter. We made it 50% brighter for the Razer Phone 2. It's insanely bright. We love you too, right? 580 nits, 50% brighter for the Razer Phone 2. And this is just an aside. I thought I would disappoint a lot of the guys out there, because it seems like many of the guys are saying, ooh, this is got no notch. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. The Razer Phone 2 does not have a notch, all right? So if you're looking for a phone that has a notch, this is not the phone for you. We don't have a notch for that, and we've got big-ass side bezels, all right? None of that no bezels kind of thing. If you want a no bezel phone, there are lots of phones out there that have no bezels and a big notch for you. We've got no notch. We've got big-ass side bezels. And there are really 3 reasons why we've got a bezel, all right? And we're just talking about the side bezels at this point of time. Firstly, you don't get the notch, which is great. Secondly, we are a phone designed for gamers. We're not trying to be an in-between kind of phone. We're a phone designed for gamers. When was the last time you tried to play a game like PUBG with a bezel-less phone? All right? When you're holding it, the joysticks are right at the edge. It's difficult to hold. So from an ergonomic perspective, we actually wanted the side bezels over there. And that's the second reason. It makes for a much more ergonomic experience when you're playing games. Now, the third reason, it's very simple. There are very few phones that have great audio. Why? Because once it goes bezel-less, they hide the speakers on the edges. Even those that claim to have front-firing speakers, they actually do it through a channel. And when you do it through a channel, you lose an incredible amount of audio quality. So the new Razer Phone 2, it's got dual front-facing speakers, all right? Like the Razer Phone 1. Now, the Razer Phone 1 had really phenomenal speakers. We did a test. In fact, we were lazy, so we used the same deck from my launch in London, right? We had a Pixel 2 at that point of time, we had the Note 8, with the iPhone X, but the Razer Phone 2 was the loudest and clearest phone out there, approaching the holy grail of 100 decibels, 98.5 decibels. All of this measured at the same wavelength of 1874 hertz, and we've improved the Razer Phone 2, and we've achieved the holy grail of 103 decibels. It is crazy. It's insane. It's now louder, it's clearer, and we've also managed to achieve IP67 water resistant. All right? That's something we're really, really proud of. So that's the dual front-facing speakers. What else? Well, let's talk about battery life, right? So battery, remember, we won the longest battery life award from MKBHD. We're very proud of that. We've looked at the keynote yesterday. The Pixel 3 XL is a 3,430 milliampere hour battery. The iPhone XS Max has a 3,174 milliampere battery. So on this note, I have to kind of talk a little bit about how, remember, we've put in this whole new vapor chamber, right, which goes on along the whole length of the phone itself. We've put water resistance. We've added in extra brightness for the screen. We've done so much more. So what have we done? So the Razer Phone 1 had a 4,000 milliampere battery. We've had to put so much more into the Razer Phone 2. So did we have to compromise on the battery life? Absolutely not. The Razer Phone 2 has a 4,000 milliampere hour battery, the same as the Razer Phone 1. And that's something that we are really proud of. And we've optimized it for games. All kinds of games out there. We've worked with our friends at Tencent very closely to make this the really best phone out there for PUBG Mobile in terms of ergonomics, in terms of touch refresh. We've made sure it's the very best phone for battle royale games out there. And some of the new games that we've been working with our friends, for example, at Netmarble. So this is one of the brand new games you're working with together with Netmarble, King of Fighters. I'm sure many of you guys like me have played it in the arcades back in the day. So this is King of Fighters All-Star. I've got a quick video to share with you guys, the new game from Netmarble. Here we go. All right, there you go. The King of Fighters from Netmarble All-Star. That's a great, great game. I'm very excited about it. We're working closely with them to make sure it's fully optimized for the new Razer phone. Now, this is the next game which I personally am really, really excited about too. All right? And it's called Rival, Crimson and Chaos. It looks like you guys know the game too. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm going to invite a couple of friends of mine, Evan, Angelo, and Justin from Black Dot and Section to join me on stage to chat a little bit about it. Gentlemen? All right.